kind of based around the Doctor Strange stuff. The more technical side of it with like more clean lucha style stuff and this and that. So it's weird. It's almost like Mil Mascaras. And I get bored easy, so I'm always coming up with different versions of things. And my favorite wrestlers growing up were the Great Muta, Jake Roberts, and The Undertaker. So watching those guys, Muta had all these different versions of his persona, but it was still him. And I was like, that's the guy I want to be right there. So I would just come up with these different variants of the gimmick. And what people liked was each variant, each version had its own kind of moveset, had its own mannerisms, had its own backstory, you know. So when all the Doctor Strange stuff came out and everything too, I was like, well, this is perfect. This is what I've been doing for years right here. So, and I'm working on something totally new this year that is going to be way different. So just got to let the storyline play out.
Okay. I was like, can we have any hints or?
Let's just say it's something that they've never seen before.
Okay, I like that.
Little fourth wall action pulled back and stuff. So it's just time to do a few things and have some more fun and really just put stuff on its ear and see what happens.
There you go. Now, you wear a mask in the ring and you still keep your mystique alive on social media, which I know a lot of mask guys and girls do or don't really kind of keep it under wraps as to what they really look like whenever they are on social media. Do you find it harder to keep your true identity in today's world?
It's for people that want to find out, they're going to.
Right.
I don't blatantly post stuff. Like I've been doing the ones now with like the mask off and with the static bar across my face because I'm doing something a little different with the gimmick in that. But there's still an air of mystery to it, you know. And it's funny because I'll go in locker rooms and there's people I've wrestled for years and known for years, and they don't recognize me sometimes until I put my stuff on. They're like, "Oh crap, I didn't even put two and two together. What have you been up to?" You know, and I take a lot of pride in that. But at the same time, like if you want to find out bad enough, people can look up stuff and find out.
Oh yeah.
And I've done multiple gimmicks over the years. I still do multiple gimmicks and I do multiple gimmicks on the same show sometimes and people don't put two and two together. So that's a fun challenge for me. So that's kind of the fun part with this year with some of the new stuff. I'm going to try and start merging things a little bit and just kind of twisting it all together. So
very nice. Yeah, it's always good.
I'm doing some movies and stuff now and getting more into that and more teaching and media stuff. And it's almost impossible to kind of like, you know, for lack of a better term, kayfabe all that stuff as it is. So you start doing movies and that too. You have to be able to promote it. And so then people get looking more. So I'm like, well, let's just pull everything back a little bit more and see what happens and go with it.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about storytelling, and if you can really kind of weave, like you said, different things into your character or around your character, then it makes the whole story better.
Right. Yeah, I agree. That's what I've always been big on. Like athletically, I can do plenty of stuff athletically, but I was always going for longevity. That's kind of one of the things that the people that trained me taught me. So I focused a lot on storytelling and psychology and character work and just real like simple stuff that makes it easy for the crowd to follow. And we've been doing that with this new stuff. Like I had a few people pull my mask off of me, and I was covered up, you know, nobody see anything or go after it. And we've been building this up with 3 or 4 different people for like the last 6 months. And people are kind of biting into it, you know, even the guys I haven't wrestled for a couple months, but we're still in that story. They're like, man, what's going to happen next? What's going to happen next? And that's where I think people miss on social media too, is you can use that to really keep telling a story and keep people reminded what's going on.
I always think that's funny when people do. I mean, it's not funny when people get injured, but I find it funny that when they are injured, they don't try to continue any storylines or even start a new one on their own because they just, I mean, I understand getting more focused and getting better about your health and everything, but at the same time, you want people to have something to look forward to whenever you do come back.
Right. That's
Yeah.
that's one thing I like that, and it was weird because the reactions were so mixed. I'm a big Bryan Danielson guy.
Yeah.
I grew up watching American Dragon. We ran in the same areas. Like, I remember being down IWA Mid-South shows and me and him in the same locker room. Like, this guy's going to be amazing. And then he's on Ring of Honor, and then he's here and here. But the stuff he was doing in AEW, which he did get hurt quite a bit. But you don't know, sometimes with the injuries he's got going on now, I think he's working a lot of the guys and just putting them out there as that injured old dog that, maybe he got a little hurt, but he's playing it up more, like the eye socket thing, or he got the gash. Now he's got to go in and fight Okada, and he's hurt, and people are like, man, he just needs to hang it up. Like, I'll scroll through the groups and stuff, because I like to get my engagement up, and I'll see people's reactions. And I'm like, man, it's such a mixed reaction, but whether it's a good or bad reaction, they tune in to watch to see either if he's going to hurt himself more or to root him on or, what the next thing's going to be. And then when it came up like, oh, okay, I'm going to fight Okada, one eye or not, hurt shoulder or not, in Japan. Everybody's like, this is ridiculous. Like, he's going to cripple himself. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I really think he's working a lot of this and using the internet like he should be.
Yeah, I think so too. And it's hilarious that, he looked it looked like he was so easy and clean, even working with one eye and the eye patch that he had. And every time that he did come out and, you didn't know, like, okay, is he working us? Is he injured? Is he not injured? Like, what is happening right now?
Right. Yeah, there was that like little doubt, like you really don't know, and that's hard to pull off anymore. It's like, is he really hurt? Does he just need to quit? And then you watch his matches, like he can't be hurt with the way he's wrestling. And then he gets hurt again.
Right.
Like, well, shit, maybe he is. I don't know.
No,
That's the art of storytelling, though. Knowing him, he might
mm-hmm.
really be hurt pretty bad, and he's just toughing it out, knowing him. But
that's probably true too. Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me either. So, how did you make the transition from being a fan and getting into the business? What was that mindset like? Of okay, I'm gonna do this.
So it's kind of a common kind of story, I guess. Really, like I said, I grew up watching the stuff with my mom and family, mainly mom. And I told her that. I was like, I want to try this at some point. She's like, you're crazy. And we used to wrestle in the backyard and play around and this and that and everything else. And come high school, and oddly enough, like I couldn't play high school sports. Not until about my freshman year or so, because like I had health issues. And once I finally got cleared of everything was good, yeah, because I was born underdeveloped and all kinds of mess of stuff. I had seizures and was on Dilantin up until I was like 11 years old. So by the time I got cleared for everything and that, it was just like, well, start playing sports now in high school at freshman, junior year. What's the point? So I focused on academics, worked out a bit, and there was local shows, but I'd never been to them. So we went out to the flea market out here in Kentucky, Richwood Flea Market, which I think it's still there. Me and a buddy of mine, and we had all talked about, there was like 3 or 4 of us, we had always talked about, oh, we're going to find a place and check this out. So the Northern Wrestling Federation down here in Cincinnati, they were in Fairfax, Ohio at the time, they're in Cincinnati now. They had a booth out there at the flea market, and they sold tickets and T-shirts and pictures, and they would have people out there from the show, meet this wrestler on so-and-so day, yada, yada, yada. And we were out there, and they had a sign up. It said, come next week, meet, it was at the time, it was Meet Prince Justice. That was the Northern Wrestling Federation heavyweight champion at the time. So me and my buddy was like, well, let's come out next week. We come out to the flea market usually anyway. Let's come out next week and see what it's about and, say hi to him, maybe razz the guy a little bit, whatever. Just have some fun. So Prince Justice, who later went on to become Abyss in Impact and TNA and Puerto Rico. Yeah. So we get there, and there's this like 6'8", 400 pound at the time dude sitting there. I'm like, I don't think we're gonna razz him too much. Like I'm not small. I'm 6'1", like 285, but this guy just dwarfed both of us. And we got talking with him. Nicest guy you ever meet.
That's what I've heard.
If you've ever met him, he's the nicest guy. He so loves wrestling. He gets so into it. And we were talking for a minute. We walked off. He said, hey, nice to meet you. He gave us a flyer for the wrestling show at Peel's Palace that they would do in Erlanger. And so we're walking around. I was like, I think I want to go back. I looked at my buddy. I was like, I think I want to go back and talk to him and see how he got involved in this. He goes, you really want to do this, don't you? I was like, yeah, I really do. I was like, I really want to check it out. So I go back and I was like, hey, how did you get involved in this? He's like, you mean to wrestle? I'm like, yeah. He goes, we go to school like anything else. I was like, okay. I have no clue. So he gave me the number of, at the time, a guy named Johnny Diamond, who's since passed away. And then Roger Ruffin, Roger Ruffin was the guy that helped run the training school and everything. And he eventually bought the whole thing, Bone Crushers, NWF and all that. So about 3 or 4 weeks went by, and I called him. I was like, let me call him and see what's going on. Went up and did a little tryout. And it was at this like warehouse up on the 3rd floor of this like old building in Fairfax. And basically all they had was a ring, some workout equipment, and a desk. So, but like it was the coolest thing to me. I'm like 19 years old. I was like, shit, it's a wrestling ring. This guy's training to wrestle. This is gritty. I like this. So did a little tryout thing. Justice was there. Met Roger. Met all of them. And I started training with them. And I think training at the time was like $1,200 or so. And you could put money down and pay on it, and you could work some of it off. And
nice.
I ended up actually working off a lot of mine. But the gym moved about 3 times before we ended up in off of Hopple Street down there in Cincinnati in Camp Washington. And that's where it stayed for a long time. And now they're, I think, down off of Vine Street in Cincinnati. They've got a newer building there. That one got sold. But yeah, I ended up training there with like Jillian Hall came through there. Carl Machine Gun Anderson when he was Chad Allegra. Chris Harris. I just seen Chris Harris about a month ago at a show. And a lot of the guys are back up there helping train now. It was hard though, man. Like when we trained then, they gave us a schedule and we trained 3 days a week, 3 hours a day, and then we had shows on the weekend. So it was basically 5 days a week roughly. You were doing something wrestling related. And you were pretty much required to be there. Like if you weren't there, it was going to be harder on you on training. And if you didn't show up and put in the effort, then you didn't progress as fast for one, and you wouldn't be taken as serious, and you weren't used on stuff as fast. And I trained for like about a year and a half maybe, because there was a little bit of a lapse when we switched gyms. So I trained for about a year and a half, 3 days a week, 3 hours a day, plus doing shows on the weekend. Plus I had my regular job that I was working because I wasn't making no money wrestling yet. And so it was intense.
What was your first gimmick?
My first, so a lot of people don't even know this. This is kind of funny. A lot of people think they know what my first gimmick was, but they don't. My first gimmick, which was weird because I'm like a 19, 20-year-old kid. I can barely grow facial hair. They're like, we're going to put you in a country gimmick. He's like, get you like a white tee, a white AAA shirt, a flannel of some kind, some jeans, and like some work boots or some wrestling boots if you can get them. And I was a lumberjack. I was like,
oh.
Yeah, I was a lumberjack, and I did that for about a year. It was actually fun, because we were just trying to figure out what to do with me, because I didn't look intimidating for nothing. I was a big kid, but I was pretty soft-spoken. I was scrappy, like I could fight this and that, I grew up scrapping, but I couldn't even grow a beard, and I was like, I'm gonna be a lumberjack? What? Like, yeah, you're gonna be a clean-shaven one. And then they had another guy they put me with, Greg Rabe, who he wrestled as Flapjack Jones. He was a big, heavy-set guy. He could move around, though, but he was older. And we did kind of a country gimmick for a while with that. But I kept trying to think of ways to modernize it. Like, what's a modern